now watching Compton Rick Rock TV. Let's get to the content.
One of my favorite movies growing up was Friday. When Friday came out, everybody had it on bootleg. You got a lot of people that went to the movie theater, but in the hood back then, we had VCRs. I believe that came out in 1995. I had a video cassette that I got from my people from Westside Piru. I just didn't have no VCR at the time. We had a VCR in the house, but you know you couldn't go touch your mama or your father VCR. Anyway, I found the way to get me a VCR. Yes, I did, man. This was the Wi-Fi, cable, all that, everything we doing right now online. This was the only way that you could watch a movie back then. Anyway, one of my homegirls' father was a hustler in the neighborhood. He used to sell that, he used to sell that white man, get his hustle on. I went to his house one day and seen that he had a VCR in his house. Me and my homie figured out a way to get that VCR out the house. I know we fouled. We stole the man VCR. He used to be in the back house hustling. The front house, we just went up in there, got it, got away with it. And then we sold the VCR back to him. He didn't even realize the VCR was gone. But once we got our hands on that, I remember having like 5 homies in the living room. And that was our first time watching Friday. And you had Ice Cube, Chris Tucker, the homie from Compton, AJ Johnson, rest in peace. And man, when I tell you the favorite character in that movie was Big Worm, and other than that, Smokey. But the main guy that stood out was Debo. Now, I thought Debo was just a character that Hollywood found, Ice Cube found. But coming to find out, this guy was a real life guy in real life. He wasn't a character. We gonna jump into this, man. This Boys in the Hood TV, man. And let's go over and check out who the real Debo is. Let's go.
Welcome to Boys in the Hood TV. Today we're going to be discussing the life of OG Big Sam, a.k.a. Debo, from the 111 neighborhood Crips, who would lose his life. Now, Debo, a.k.a. Sam Connor, was born in October of 1964 in South Central L.A. Now, Debo would grow up on 111th Street along with his siblings. He would eventually be a part of the notorious original West Side neighborhood Crips, which would be founded by Big O'Neal in the early 70s, who was 8 years his elder. Now, eventually, they who would become known as the 111 neighborhood Crips. Now, the 111s will be one of the most dangerous Crip sets in South Central. Many murders, shootings have been connected to this set since the late 70s until present day. Now, the 111s will be allies with all of the neighborhoods, but especially they will have close ties to the 11-5s and 11 Deuce neighborhood Crips. Now, the 111s are a part of the Rolling Hundreds. Now, anytime the West Side Rollins connected with the East Coast Crips, they were referred to as the Rolling Coasters. Now, the 111s' biggest rivals are the Hoovers, the Avenue Pyrus, Watergate, and the 7 Trail Hustlers. Now, it's stated that the 111s will be the first neighborhoods to ever beef with the Hoovers. Now, Debo being one of the original West Side neighborhood Crips, he was very active in the streets during the 80s. Now, like many gangsters in the 80s, working out and lifting weights was a part of everyday life for Debo, along with gangbanging.
All right, you right about that. You right about that. Coming up, that's how I got into fitness. Coming up, you will see guys working out in garages, they front yard, they backyard. You will see guys with their tank tops on. Everybody was fit. Everybody was in shape. Everybody dressed clean. Everybody wanted a nice car on some Daytons or Lorenzos. Whatever the case may be, a lot of you young cats don't know what I'm talking about. If you go look through your mama or your father photo album, you will see a lot of your uncles and guys like that. Some of y'all grandfathers all was in shape. You didn't have it how you got today. Dudes walking around skinny, malnutrition. The food is different too. Also, it was a lot of nutrients in the food back then, a lot of protein. A lot of the food that you got right now is not the real deal. So you don't see a lot of guys walking around like they used to. They don't work out. They don't do anything. But this is how I got into fitness at one point, seeing my father and all his homeboys in shape. This definitely was a thing growing up in the streets, to be physically fit. Let's go.
Now, even though gunplay was on the rise at the time, knowing how to squabble was a must, because eventually As a gangster, you gonna hit that county, and if you didn't know how to fight, you eventually will become a victim. Now, Debo was known for being vicious with his hands and known for wrecking shit. Now, by 1982, Debo would lose his father, Sam, who he was named after, and this will only lead him to going deeper into the gang life. And with the increase of violence in South Central, he would do whatever he had to do to survive. From 1987 and up, Debo will be in and out of jail, back and forth on various different charges. But a lot of his charges were for jacking people, sometimes with weapons, but most of the time just out of pure fear and intimidation of people being afraid of who he was. And by 1991, he was eventually arrested for a 211 after robbing somebody in the neighborhood. Now, he would eventually be sent to prison. But once out, he would continue to run the streets. Now, in 1995, Ice Cube, who was from the same neighborhood as Debo, the 111s, will go on to film the movie Friday and create a character named after Big Debo, and his character would share the same similar traits to him, which was jacking.
Woo! Man. You had the D boys and you had the Jack boys. You had the ones who knew how to hustle and the ones who knew how to use their muscle. And from what we've seen in Friday, when he was walking up to people, taking their chains, punching them out, and so forth, this guy was, can y'all imagine the real Debo in the hood? Everybody hood got a Debo in them. But can y'all imagine a dude pulling up on the beach cruiser, man, and y'all got to tuck y'all chains in? Man, this is crazy, man. I never knew that this was a real person, man.
Why you tripping, Debo? Shut up, fuck, I knock your ass out.
But Debo from Friday was not only based off of the real-life Big Debo from the 111s, but also from various Crips from South Central. But also at the same time, gang violence in the 90s had reached its peak. From shootings and killings were pretty much a regular occurrence in everyday life.
They did say the Crips back then was bullies. The Crips was bullies. That's how a lot of these other gangs started, because the Crips was bullies, taking people's jackets and so forth. And you had other guys saying, man, we not getting bullied no more by these Crips. We gonna start our own gang. But yeah, them Crips was bullies, man.
Now, at the age of 36, Debo was still active in the streets. In the early 2000s, he would violate his parole and he would be sentenced to prison for a short time. Now, eventually he would be back on the streets, but still being a Crip in South Central is dangerous. So having a weapon is a must. But with this choice, Debo will find himself back in trouble yet again with the law. And in 2007, he'll be caught with a concealed firearm. Now, after serving some time, Debo would get his freedom and start trying to get his life back together. But in 2012, he'll be arrested yet again on robbery and burglary charges. But because the state will fail to bring this case to trial by 60 days, this will result in a delay. But after so much trauma and pain and losing homies in the streets to the gang life, Debo will develop an alcohol and drug addiction that will start to take control over his life. Now, along with the drug addiction and alcohol, he will also be diagnosed with severe schizophrenia and will be prescribed medication.
All right, stop there. After seeing so much death, homies laid out, you hear some shooting outside your house, go out there, you see it's one of your homies who rest in peace. A lot of us done seen guys with their brains blew out. We done seen all this stuff, man. We done seen people on the ground bleeding out and take their last breath. We done seen our family members and homies from this life laid up under white sheets. Mamas crying. We seen all this stuff, man. So yeah, to ease the pain, drinking, smoking. That's why you see a lot of guys right now, they schizophrenic. They can't be around people. They don't trust nobody. People that come from out that 90s, these new cats, they really ain't went through all. They went through some stuff. These new dudes went through their own trauma, but back then it was real, man. It was for real. And it just growing up in these neighborhoods back then, you didn't have no choice. Either you was going to join them gangs or you was going to get beat up every time they seen you to try to make you join them. Let's get back to this.
Now, still battling with his addictions, in 2017, he will be arrested for being in possession of drug paraphernalia. But after a small stint in county, he will decide to refocus his life and try to better himself. Debo will start going to AA meetings and C8 meetings for his drug and alcohol addiction. And not only that, he will find work and doing home remodeling.
City, almost done. We put an overhead for the car. Did this, me and my partner, put it together.
Got talent, got skills. He got skills. That's a good car part report right there. A lot of guys in the streets do got skills. A lot of black folks got skills, period, man. Building, especially building. This is what our grandfathers used to do. We used to have all these good jobs, but the streets took us away from what we known to do. Our skill, working at the car factories, was that General Motors and a lot of this stuff, man. We are definitely some good craftsmen, but the streets is what take a lot of guys away from what they. A lot of these dudes don't even know that they got these kind of. They don't even know that they good at stuff like this, man. Skills. Streets has definitely played a trick on us.
Now in 2019, he would lose a very close friend named Tasha due to an illness, and this would have a major effect on him deeply. But going through as much as Debo had been through in his life, he would try not to lose hope and stand on the right path, including starting his own marijuana business.
Checking my crop out. Ain't nothing like a plan coming together for the cheddar. Quarter-length leathers. Flipping hard times to better. Get down for the cheddar. Sound like a rhyme.
Now things would be going good for him for a while, and he would start spending a lot of time with his family and friends, and even homies from the old neighborhood. But at some point in time, Debo would stop taking his medication for his schizophrenia. Now data shows that most patients stop taking their medication due to the bad side effects or the belief that they no longer need it. And not only did he stop taking his meds, Debo will ultimately stop going to the doctor for his illness and try to handle it himself. But according to family and friends, Debo will be found time from time talking to himself. But sadly, things will take a turn for the worse for Debo. On November 15, 2020, at around 1:50 a.m., police will get a call of a man standing in the middle of the street of Van Ness Avenue and Van Wyck Street holding a .357 Magnum, pointing it at passing cars. Now this call was labeled a 5150, which means a person with a mental illness. And that man was Debo. Now not long after this 911 call, a patrol car would arrive moments later. One officer would exit the vehicle on the passenger side, holding his firearm, while the other stays seated in the driver's seat, holding his firearm drawn. Now, police allege that Debo turned the firearm towards them and they immediately opened fire. Debo would be struck 5 times and fall to the ground. Police would then call the EMTs, who would then transfer Debo to the hospital. But sadly, not long after arriving, Sam Connor, aka Big Sam, also known as Debo, will be pronounced dead at the age of 56.
LA County Sheriff's deputies were involved in a deadly shooting of a man. Here's a live look now at the scene. Authorities were called to the intersection of Van Ness Avenue and Van Wyck Street just before 2 o'clock this morning. When deputies arrived at that location, they say they saw a suspect pointing a gun at a vehicle. They told the man to drop the weapon, but when he turned, they say he pointed the weapon at them, and that's when deputies say they opened fire. The suspect died at the hospital. A revolver belonging to the suspect was recovered at the scene.
Now, neither officer at the time were wearing body cams, and there was no surveillance footage recovered from any homes nearby. Now, evidence showed that Officer Johnson fired 13 times and Officer Sino fired twice at Debo. Now, there would be conflicted statements from officers. Now, Officer Sino would claim that upon arrival, he saw Debo pointing his gun at a car. So he told Debo to drop his weapon, and Debo then aimed the gun towards him, so he opened fire. But his partner Johnson would claim that upon arrival, Debo immediately started walking towards their patrol car with his gun pointing at them.
All right. Now, can you imagine back then, no body cam on these officers, all the stuff that they got away with? They got away with a lot of stuff, plant guns on people, plant dope on people, taking people to the wrong neighborhoods, dropping them off in the wrong neighborhoods. You got good cops and you got the dirty cops, and the ones that was dirty played a dirty game. Man. It's sad how this stuff ended, man. I didn't even know Debo. Like I said, Debo was a real character. And I got homies from 111, real homies. One thing I love about them dudes over there, man, they low ride. You know, I'm a low rider. I love that stuff, man. They got some clean low riders out there at 111. They had some riders up out of there too. But yeah, man, I got good friends up out there 111.
Which in return, they opened fire. So according to this officer, there was no command given or words being exchanged between them and Debo, only gunfire. But the autopsy report would show that Debo had been shot in the head, neck, abdomen, right thigh, and lower left leg. and the toxicology report would come back and show a presence of cocaine in Debo's system. Now, due to the evidence at hand, the state would deem that this was a clean shooting by both officers, and it was considered self-defense. I want to say RIP to Big Sam, aka Debo, and I want to thank everybody for tapping in, and I'll see y'all next time.
Wow, man. Let me get up out of here, man. Damn. A lot of older guys that you see in these neighborhoods, and you see them on drugs, and you wonder how did they get there. A lot of times it'd be from females, the females that got hooked on it, and they fall in love with these women, and they talk them into using drugs. But on living that life, you get addicted to the drugs to take away the pain and some of the stuff that you experience in them streets. And when y'all see these older guys and y'all think they just dope fiends and y'all disrespect them and talk to them bad, not knowing that they got a story. They really got a story, man. Y'all see what they did with his story. Debo put him in a movie. Yeah, man. So when we see these guys in our hoods, man, instead of talking down on them or talking bad, might want to sit down with them and ask them some questions and try to figure out how did they get there and how you could prevent yourself from getting there. This is a sad story right here, man. But, shout out to them guys out there in the 111 and rest in peace to Sam Houston Connor Jr., a.k.a. Debo, man. Leave y'all thoughts in the comment section. It's Compton Rick Rock with Compton Rick Rock TV. I'll catch all of y'all. Oh, yeah, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch all of y'all on the next one.
Like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, Compton Rick Rock TV. Also, hit that notification bell and catch every video when I drop.